Dr. Bill Adams here, and this is No Spin Live, and we've got two incredible international experts in plastic surgery, Dr. Chet Mays from Louisville, Kentucky, and Dr. Rick Zienowicz from Providence, Rhode Island. Rick, hadn't seen you in a while. That's a sweet beard there, man. That's like, it's like ZZ Top. All right, well, listen, we got a great show. We're going to be talking about the Florida lawmakers have made sweeping reforms about deadly cosmetic surgery facilities, and also a Miami surgeon is suing two patients for their bad reviews. So let's get into this first topic. Rick, I'm going to let you lead it off, but what do you think? This is about Florida lawmakers. There's been a lot of regulation going on, particularly in Florida, but I think in a lot of the United States on safety, certification of surgeons, and also the certification of surgical facilities where procedures are done, and a lot of this stems from patient deaths. So what do you think about this?
So it's like Miami Vice, Miami Slice, Miami Not So Nice. We're hearing about Miami. It's ad nauseum up here. Every time I turn around, it's about, this Dr. Miami or something else that's happening, behind the scenes, the laws, the restrictions, and the bad outcomes. So I have to say that looking at some of the articles that have been out there today, they clarify that most of these bad outcomes are coming from surgeons that are not qualified, and the board has not been doing due diligence on background checks for these people. They say that they don't have enough money to fund through the federal government, and they're blaming it on that. But seriously, they're just not checking out the credentials of these people that are really entrusting patients' lives into their hands.
Yeah, and then there was just another patient death, in Florida. It was just reported another, I think it was a Brazilian butt lift death, and some of that's interrelated because oftentimes if physicians aren't certified, the facility may not be certified. And Chet, that's another thing. Patients can be confused, but for example, people that are members of, say, the Aesthetic Society, or ASPS for that matter, one of the things that emblem means is that you've been vetted, you've had proper board certification in plastic surgery, but also the facilities that you operate in are certified. So that's important for patient safety, don't you think?
Right. I mean, patient safety is at the forefront, and plastic surgery, as board certified plastic surgeons, we have certain standards that we practice to, but you have these little chop shops that want to make an extra buck, and they pop up all over the place. It's not just a Florida problem, it's a sort of nationwide problem of surgeons coming in saying they're, in quotations, cosmetic surgeons. And when you read the fine print, you realize that there's a lot of gray matter in the middle, and we're trying to educate patients and families. And we're in Louisville, Kentucky, and we hear about destination plastic surgery all the time. People, oh, my friend went down and to this boutique. I was like, oh, where was that at? They're like, oh, Puerto Rico. And I was like, oh, who was the surgeon? Oh, they don't know. They were just trying to save an extra, $2,000. And they come back to our office with a wound infection, and there's no follow-up. So we see it sort of from all over. But I'm just glad that it's sort of in the news and people are talking about it in the media about qualifications and qualifications of your surgery center and your plastic surgeons. It just gets the dialogue going, but people just think plastic surgeons or cosmetic surgeons, and they blend us all together. So it comes down to education of the patients and their families.
So Chet and Bill, I was looking at some of the fine print on that article, and they were talking about what the person had paid for this BBL, and the dollar amount was $3,600. And if you're having to do that kind of surgery for that kind of money, I mean, we're talking about that's all in. Those are Dominican Republic numbers. So they're feeling hard pressed to compete with the offshore surgery centers. Right. And if you have to work on that kind of a fee scale, you can see what they're doing. They're basically just not taking their time. They're doing careless surgery, and they're taking risks. And it's something that is inevitably going to have a problem down the road. And that's what's actually, bringing a bad name to a lot of the surgery that we have to then deal with as a specialty.
And I think probably that another component of this is just that it's kind of the era that we're in social media. I always talk about social media. I can't get my kids off their phone. I can't. They're in the phone like all the time. But the other problem I think with it, and it's not all bad, but I personally think it's probably net negative because people see all this marketing and things that is easy to do, and so they see these centers, and sometimes superficially they look, good. They sound like they're great, but sometimes what you see is not what you get.
Oh, right. I mean, you can credential yourself on social media to be the world's best plastic surgeon, and you can have the flashiest page. You can have something that people want to scroll through and they like and love. And you, once again, you read that fine print, like, this person is not even a surgeon. They didn't do a surgical residency. They did, 1 year of extra training in something cosmetology, and now they can call themselves a surgeon. And it's just scary.
Well, let's go on to another topic. This is about patient reviews. So, we talked about social media. Reviews now are becoming a bigger and bigger thing. Again, it's easier for people to get on these social sites and share reviews. And reviews can be good and bad. So we can talk about that. This particular story was actually, there's a plastic surgeon suing 2 patients for negative reviews. Then we can talk about that too. But Chet, why don't you talk a little bit about initially what do you think of the whole review process? What patients should know about it when they read these things, and then we can talk about this lawsuit.
Yeah, I mean, we live in a review world, not just with plastic surgery, but anything we do. We're purchasing a new car, we're going on Amazon, purchasing something. You read those reviews, you search through them, you look for good ones, you look for bad ones. You want to look for real reviews because unfortunately now that's where we live in. People put out fake reviews that, they get people to write reviews for them. So you just got to really, it comes back to what we were talking about earlier, just about doing your due diligence and really looking into your plastic surgeon or your surgeon's office. And, suing a patient is never a good idea. Suing your doctor, I don't think it's a good idea, but flipping that role around, that's a whole different bad press on that, no matter how you spin it, for a negative review. But I was reading the fine print on that article about how they'd signed some, fake contract, and obviously it's against the law, and just to have your name in the press for suing a patient just really sends up a lot of flags. And
why do you think that is like the sine qua non for a bad outcome? I thought of Baum and Guyern. He is kind of the one who heralded that possibility, that you have bad results, you deserve to be hung out to dry. But if you've done something for a patient and you've had at least an average result, and then you're besmirched in the press because of this nasty review, and it's not true, what recourse do doctors have? It made me feel good when Bauman went to task on that. So I know it's kind of getting its heyday now. People are probably overcompensating in that respect, but it's very frustrating to be assassinated for doing at least very reasonable work. And I see that happening to some of my colleagues. It's happened to me a couple of times, and it hurts.
Look, I mean, I think there's some positives to reviews. Certainly, again, people are trying to do the research, picking doctors. Sometimes just connecting with their physician is a large part of the relationship between our patients and what we do. So patients need to get to know you. But I think what you're saying, I think I agree with both of what you said, and I think it kind of probably depends on what the situation is. There was even Jack Gunter had a patient that raked him over the coals over, basically very much misrepresenting the whole scenario that happened from a very complex, redo rhinoplasty procedure. That's clearly not appropriate. It took many years to get that sorted out. I think it's totally different though. If somebody says, well, this person, had surgery with this doctor, and the office staff didn't treat me well, and I wasn't happy with my result. It is what it is. And honestly,
that's a review. Yeah.
I would say, that we all try to do the best we can, but you know what? It's human that not everybody's going to be happy. So I would say if you try, you mentioned people have a bunch of fake reviews. Yeah, if you go somewhere and all the person just has only glowing reviews, I think that's a red flag, because the reality of life is that there's probably going to be somebody that's not totally happy.
That's a really good point, Bill. And yeah, you have to keep that in mind. Having a few better reviews actually does create much more of a semblance of honesty. Yeah.
Now, but I think then the question is that in this extreme is, I mean, the article, my read in the article is it was pretty negative about just, you know, kind of more along the lines of what Chet said, that, you know, it's just probably not a great situation for the doctor to be suing the patient unless there's like some extenuating circumstance. I don't really know the details of this, so but the article certainly wasn't very complimentary or favorable.
Right. And you know, when there's a patient who's unhappy, I mean, you get that sense when they're in your office, and if you let them leave without addressing the issue or the expectations, it's easy to get out your phone, right? They can sit in the parking lot in their car and just rake you over the coals within 5 minutes, when, you know, taking that extra 5 minutes in the office, maybe have some support staff come in and just really see what it is that's the issue. And a lot of times things get blown out of proportion, and then you get a review and you're like, well, it's up there. And then obviously that you live and die by your review sometimes. So just diffusing the situation, managing expectations in your practice can hopefully avoid some of these situations where you feel like you have to sue a patient, when maybe if you took 5 minutes and just sort of see what maybe they were scared of something, you just didn't really meet what they were looking for in that situation.
I think all of my friends in plastic surgery, the plastic surgery channel, we treat patients like we'd want our own family to be treated. I know that
right.
for a fact, because that's how we want to be treated ourselves. And we know that the outcome is going to be far better when you do that. When you put ethics first, it's always going to be a better outcome.
Rick, you mentioned that we're not gods in that article. The surgeon who's suing called himself the boob god.
Oh my God.
Occasions. So
isn't that amazing?
So he has his own persona that he's trying to fulfill. So
yeah, so that's probably that probably goes along with the whole scenario, you know. But you know, we may be talking about that on another No Spin Live, and as a matter of fact, I would bet we probably will be at some point. So, well, listen, guys, that was some awesome insights. Thanks so much. And if you want to see more of this, you can see it on the plasticsurgerychannel.com.